For over 20 years, the Texas Department of Agriculture's Go Texan program has helped promote products made right here in the Lone Star State. From boots to salsa, Go Texan members make the best stuff on earth. Now, friends, let's take a look at one of these fine Texas businesses and why they are Go Texan proud.
Go Texan every day.
Prestige Oysters, we're a fully integrated oyster processing company located here in Texas. What that means is that we have the oyster resource in the water, the harvesting vessels, the processing facilities, the landing docks. We bring in oysters on a daily basis and we process them here, and they go across the state of Texas to retailers and distributors and to restaurateurs. My parents started the business. My father was an immigrant to the country. He'd never been in fisheries or on an oyster boat or a boat even for that matter. So he heard of work down in Louisiana on oyster boats. So he made his way down there, began learning the trade. And he saw some opportunities here in Texas. So he decided to move over to Texas and he became a boat captain. And at that point, started saving some money, buying an oyster boat, met my mother. They both got together and she became his best deckhand. And they would shrimp in the summers and oysters in the winter. And they began this idea of Prestige. It started very, very small, and as time grew on, they began reinvesting to be a full-time processing facility, shipping out oysters all across the country to create this company that we have today. It's truly the American dream. An oyster is, it's a keystone species here in our estuary, and it's an amazing creature. It's a mollusk, a filter, coastal barrier. An oyster creates life for other types of species in the water, from fish, crab, shrimp, to other little critters that you'll find on a oyster reef. They're amazing, and anytime you find oyster reefs, you'll find healthy populations of fish and shrimp and crab and cleaner water. So they're very essential to Mother Nature, to coastal areas, and they're also provide a great protein. They're a healthy option. They have your fatty acids, your omega-3s, also zinc and magnesium. When eaten raw, they're very, very healthy. So cooking, my favorite method is grilling them. Grilling them in your backyard. You put some herbs, some cheeses on there. You can get creative, and I've seen endless recipes on oysters, and they're just one of those fun dishes that you can continue to recreate and have fun with. And I always tell someone, if they're saying, well, they look slimy, I don't want to try an oyster, I always tell them, try a fried oyster, try an oyster off the wood grill. I think it might change your mind. We're the first MSC certified oyster fishery in the Americas, and MSC is the Marine Stewardship Council. It's a third-party organization that audits fisheries around the world. For us, if we're not paying attention to the future, there is no future, there is no tomorrow. So it's taking action now to ensure that this fishery, this business is here for my daughter, for my fishermen's children, if they want to enter in this business. And oysters playing such a vital role in the ecosystem, I think it's our duty of the stewards of the bay to make sure that we're fishing and harvesting oysters in the most practical way. Where they're harvesting today, they're going to be on their private leases. So a lot of these guys, they've been with us since I was a kid. He knows those reefs, those areas like the back of his hand, and they're going to go out to those areas. They're going to feel around with the cane pole. They're going to feel the bottoms. They want to be on the reef, and they have dredge. When people hear the word dredge, the big misconception, they think of digging. They're digging up to sea bottom. It's a complete misconception. Think of a dredge as a rake. Think that you're raking the leaves off of your lawn. You just want to get those leaves that have just fallen down off the top of your lawn. You don't want to dig into your grass. And that's what we're doing there. We're scraping those top layer of oysters off our reef. We're bringing them up, and they're going to be culling the oysters on the deck. All the oysters 3 inches and above, they're going to go into the basket and into the sack and brought in. Everything else, all the rock, shell, undersized oysters, baby oysters, crab, fish, anything that comes up, all that gets shoved back into the water, and we allow those to nurture and grow for another time. Texas has this vast coastline, one of the largest coastlines in the country, and hurricanes come along and they wreak havoc on our fishery and our industry. We're one of, if not the only, wild oyster producer in the Gulf Coast that has oysters. Due to Louisiana being completely shut down, people rely on Texas to produce oysters. Other states rely on Texas to produce oysters, and those oysters end up being processed, and we process oysters that go internationally up in Canada, parts of Puerto Rico. So it does play a vital place in the supply chain. With agriculture, you realize that Texas produces a ton of shrimp and fish and oysters, and that is a part of agriculture. So it's part of feeding Texas, feeding America, and Texans do a great job of that. Being a Go Texan member to me is, it means being able to produce a product that I'm going to be very proud of, to having that logo, State of Texas, on it. It means a lot to me. For one, being a Texan, I'm very proud and as a Go Texan member because of what it stands for and all the great avenues that comes along with being a Go Texan member. So being able to have Go Texan on my product, I'm going to always try to do that every single time. I'm Raz Halili with Prestige Oysters, and we're Go Texan proud.